Hello, my name is Corinna Parrish. I'm a part of the Music Imaging and Neural Dynamics Lab at Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts. And today I'm going to be sharing my study investigating the effects of theta-band amplitude modulation on sustained attention. For some background behind our study, we know that people will often use music in their day-to-day lives as a productivity tool, especially folks who may be experiencing some sort of natural attentional deficits like an ADHD. However, we don't actually know how productive music is making us. We do know that there are natural neural oscillations in the brain in the theta band range, around 4 to 8 hertz. So we wondered if we were to implement this theta band oscillation into music, would this improve sustained attention, especially for those folks who have those natural attentional difficulties? So how do we do this? We took 32 popular songs and implemented theta band oscillations into each song dependent on the song's beat rate. We took these songs and used them as background music in a sustained attention to response task, or the SART, where a participant will click a button for every number that they see, except when they see the number 3, they withhold their response. Participants did the SART for 6 minutes, with 3 minutes having modulated music in the background and the other 3 having unmodulated music in the background, and those 2 blocks were counterbalanced. Within each block, participants heard 3 songs, each song lasting around 60 seconds, and the stimulus presentation was actually dependent on the beat of the song. Alongside the SART, participants completed a host of questionnaires, including but not limited to the Extended Barcelona Music Reward Questionnaire and the Adult ADHD Self-Report Scale, the EBMRQ, and the ASRS. Participants either completed this task and these questionnaires online through Prolific or in person, either in our MRI scanner, the Siemens 3T scanner, or in an EEG system, which is our brain vision recorder system. So what did we find? Well, in our online sample of 364 participants, we looked at RTCV, or reaction time coefficient of variability, basically fluctuations in reaction time, and we found that there were more variable reaction times or weaker sustained attention in both music conditions rather than the no music condition used in this online sample. However, when we're looking at this RTCV in relationship to musical reward measured by the EBMRQ or attentional difficulties measured by the ASRS, we see a different kind of relationship. In our top figure here, we look at RTCV in both music conditions compared to no music. And when we look at the modulated music condition, we see that for folks who are ASRS positive, so have some sort of attentional difficulties measured by the ASRS, who also have a high EBMRQ or a high musical reward, that their RTCVs actually decrease so that their responses are less variable and their sustained attention is better. It even matches up with their ASRS negative counterparts. So there is a relationship here between the modulated music and the folks who are experiencing attentional difficulties, but who also really love music. And it's those two things together. The figure right below that demonstrates the fixed factors of condition ASRS and EBMRQ with the random factor of subject. And this also is reflecting this same relationship between musical reward, attentional difficulties, and the modulated music. So interestingly enough, we see our online results almost mirrored in our EEG sample of only 36 participants. For this group, we looked at phase locking values, or PLV, where higher PLV indicates higher neural entrainment. And we did this by calculating the phase angle alignment between the acoustic signals in the music and the EEG signals at these frequencies of interest, including the 4 hertz in the theta band range, as well as the subharmonics. And we see a higher PLV at 4 hertz, as well as the subharmonics for the modulated music. This is partially stimulus driven, but it is also partially participant driven, seeing that the modulated music is actually engaging the theta band in the way that we wanted it to. When we look at this in relationship to EBMRQ and ASRS, we see that naturally the ASRS negative participants have higher PLV. They don't have these attention deficits. Naturally, their brains might be a little bit more entrained. However, when we look at this in relationship to ASRS positive and high EBMRQ, we see that, once again, PLV increases as a function of musical reward, much like our online sample. So in short, the modulation is most effective on people who enjoy music listening and who experience ADHD symptoms, just like in our online sample. Finally, for the fMRI sample of 38 participants, we look at successful task performance over the whole task. So we're looking at all of the hits versus all of the false alarms when someone was supposed to go but withheld a response. We see that with modulated music in the background, that there's increased activity in the right pre- and postcentral gyri, the left occipital pole, and the right superior parietal lobe. These areas are really relevant in spatial and visual processing, as well as voluntary visual control. And we're thinking that there's a relationship here between the modulated music and the visual attention network, and how perhaps these two things are engaging each other, perhaps leading to excitation on the task and actually going on the go trials. Versus in the unmodulated music condition, we see decreased activity in the right insula, the right superior frontal gyrus, and the right precentral gyrus. This deactivation in these salience and motor regions may be demonstrating how successful performance also is the inhibiting of motor regions on no-go trials rather than the excitation of visual areas. So there is a lot more to be parsed apart here. There's a lot of results to look at, but we are seeing some sort of difference between how modulated music and unmodulated music are being processed in the brain. In conclusion, we see a relationship here between sustained attention and amplitude modulation. This is especially true in folks who are experiencing attention difficulties and who also love music. And there is something to be said here about how the modulated music could be used as a tool to kind of uplift the folks who already have hindrances in their sustained attention. But there's a lot more to be done here. We have tons of questionnaires that we didn't even get into on this poster presentation. We have plenty of other ways that the study could move. We could look at different kinds of music, look at different ways to measure sustained attention. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or suggestions, please feel free to reach out to me over email. You can reach me at c.parrish@northeastern.edu. Happy to talk more about this study and the other work that we do here in the lab. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you watching.